Yes, we're in 442 getting set for another big show later today. So much news making the rounds on Mondays, eh, guys? Champions League, of course, is kicking back into action this week. The end of the group phase, and then it's not until February we see the knockout rounds. I think 12 of 16 berths have been considered so far. Have you enjoyed the group phase? To me, it's had a bit of a redemption. Sometimes it's going to be a bit bland, but this time around it's been brilliant.
I liked it. I liked it a lot. I think the story of the whole group phase for me personally is Napoli and what
100%.
they've managed to do after losing so many of their star players, Lorenzo and Insigne. Yeah, I think there's been some great matches, and I've been into pretty much every game.
It's also been like a very different, like, I mean, of course, we've seen Barcelona fall again, but Tottenham might not make the next round. Atletico's out. Juve's out. Like, we are seeing big dogs come out of this tournament and either headed to Europa or just headed out.
The Europa League looks great, by the way.
That's what I'm so, because
So much better than
I have
Champions
to
League.
watch it now. It honestly, people were comparing it last week that the Europa League could be better, and I'm like, I am here for it. Give me that Thursday football. I have to watch it anyways now, so I'm like, let's go.
Well, does that speak to like the overall quality of the parity in terms of world football now? We're not seeing no longer the 1, 2, 3 powerhouses anymore. We're seeing a lot of.
Well, they'll try and fix that, Mikey. The big clubs can't be having that. We can't see Club Brugge doing what they're doing again. I mean, God forbid, right? By the way, Club Brugge's been a brilliant story.
Yeah.
Canadian fans in particular, right? Obviously, Tajon Buchanan's being a regular
Tajon at
starter.
left back.
I know.
At left back.
Interesting options for John Herman, don't you think? That might change the things up.
I don't know if we'll see Tajon. You have too much depth there.
Sam's too good in that
Sam's
side.
too good.
Yeah.
You can even throw Fonzie back there. I don't think we see that. And Tajon's too valuable, in my opinion, on the right wing.
The concern, though, is Kyle Larin.
Yeah.
Right? He's just not playing.
Yeah.
He's made his move to Brugge. He's not playing. You're going to need goals, as we keep hearing at World Cups. John Davis playing really well.
Yeah.
But do you think there's a chance that we see Kyle sitting on the bench for Canada?
We talked about this and like off camera. And I think against teams like Belgium and Croatia, and we saw this a little bit against Uruguay, Canada's better off at just stacking the midfield and maybe going with one striker up top. And of course, that's Jonathan David right now. There's no question about that. And Kyle Larin would be the one to fall victim to sort of that tactical change. That being said, in the past, when Jonathan David's at his best for this men's national team, and even when he plays for Lille, he's playing off another striker. So maybe to get the best out of David, you have to include Larin. But it's a predicament I think John Herman and his staff are definitely going over and considering very carefully.
We talk about Group E in the show today. Spain, Sarah's Spain. Of course, she'll be supporting Canada at the World Cup, but one eye on Spain, right? Or is it two eyes? I'm not sure. But what a group that is! Spain and Germany, two teams, obviously giants of the past, who both can still win this thing, I think, but perhaps aren't seen. Do you think you see them as the top caliber at this World Cup? You've got your Brazils and your Argentinas.
Yeah.
You throw in maybe France, maybe England. Where does
Belgium.
Germany and Spain fit?
I would take Spain and Germany over Belgium, but they're gonna have to face each other because the way this bracket is going. They're in a really tough bracket, both of them. Like if they go through, which, if everything goes well, it probably will be Spain and Germany that go through. They have to probably face Belgium and Croatia, and then Portugal's on the other side.
Wait a minute.
Portugal's
Come
on the other side of that with Brazil. Like all of these guys are on the same bracket, and then you have the other side, which is like Argentina and England and France, and it's like it's going to be so tough for either one of these two to go through. They could. It's still Spain and Germany, but it's going to be a tough battle.
Well, who had Spain and Italy making the semi-finals of Euro last year?
Me.
Well, of course you did, because so blatantly.
And I had England losing in the finals to penalty.
Well, you got that part right. But are you guys getting pumped, excited about this? I mean, it's what, 3 weeks away?
It's been such a long time we've been talking about this tournament, and honestly, yeah. And it's almost November. It's October 31st. November's tomorrow. The World Cup, the start of the World Cup is
20th.
3 weeks away.
But I
the
think
20th, yeah.
it's the nerves for me right now with what we spoke about with players getting injured. Like we saw right now, I think that 2 weeks ago, I was like, I'm so excited. I'm ready. Now I'm like, please just stay fit because it's their falling, like they're dropping like flies.
Well, we
these
saw
players.
Lukaku's done his hamstring.
Yeah.
Which is great news for Canada, right?
And sorry, is Saka also looking?
Yeah, well, he's getting a scan today.
But like that's what I mean.
It's going to happen though.
Every
each
time a
game.
player goes down, I'm holding my breath.
I'm literally. Did you see when Messi lost his boot and he went down? And there was a moment where everyone was literally like, "No one move. This could be it."
Is it okay? So you obviously Messi's the one guy that you don't want to see get injured. Name the one player this year's World Cup that if you saw him go down, you'd be just devastated.
It's
Alfonso
Fonzie.
Davies, of course.
It's Fonzie.
It has
He
to
is
be.
the face of Canada.
When he got his concussion, the first thing
Yeah.
I thought of was you actually. 'Cause I
Hey.
was like, Mikey.
They qualified
dying
without
inside.
Fonzie essentially. They played great football without him.
All right,
Yeah,
come
but
on.
I know
you-
what you're saying.
Stop.
Of course I do. There's such a different beast with him, of course.
James, who's your one that you don't want to see?
Well, it's Fonzie, right? So,
Okay.
but if I remove Fonzie from the equation, let me remove Canada from the equation.
Okay.
Sure.
You know what? I was joking earlier
think
about
of
wanting all
it.
Canada's opponents to be injury riddled. I don't want that. I want to see someone like Kevin De Bruyne just
No.
star at this World Cup. I do, because he's that good. He's just fun to watch. He's absolutely brilliant. That would be a real shame. You don't want to see the best players in the world get hurt.
Uh-huh.
You don't. All joking aside, and he might be the best player in the world.
I want to add Neymar into that conversation too.
I just don't like Neymar.
I know it's a personal vendetta against Neymar. I get it, but when he's on, he's one of the most fun players
He's
to watch.
so fun during the World Cup too. Well, Brazil in general.
Exactly.
But I
You got
completely
that.
agree.
You got that flair, and
Yeah.
what the assist he almost pulled off over the weekend. It looked like I was saying. It looked like Santos Neymar. And when he's playing like that, he
He's
is one of the most
fantastic,
fun
isn't he?
footballers to watch.
You could say also an Mbappe of France,
Mbappe.
a guy that you don't want to see injured for the World Cup. You want to see this guy in that blue, playing in the biggest stage.
I think you also want to see like these, especially these bigger teams, kind of fully loaded, because then like, okay, let's say like Belgium. Yeah, if Kevin De Bruyne got injured for Canada, that would be, an advantage. But also, wouldn't Canada rather either get a point or beat Belgium somehow with a De Bruyne?
I don't think they care.
You know what? It's funny.
Wait, no, like-
It's a good point though, because you hear players and coaches say we want to play the best and beat the best. Otherwise, it wouldn't feel the same.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're really being honest. They'd much rather play Belgium without De Bruyne or
Let's
Croatia
face it,
without
yeah.
Modric.
I will
right?
say Spain plays a lot better when they're consistently playing bigger and better teams, because they're constantly having to stay on. When they're playing a team that maybe is, a little bit lower or whatever,
They
and
play
then they
down to their level.
exactly.
It's a Leafs
Portugal actually does
dilemma.
the same thing as well, and it bites them in the butt all the time.
So Costa Rica put some money on them in that group.
Get
Right?
away from me.
Maybe Japan. And
It's gonna
it's true
be
though.
tough.
You see in World Cups, every World Cup you see smaller, larger nations in those opening games, couple of games, often drop points.
Yeah.
Because they're not quite ready for it, and the small teams are really up for it. Nothing to lose whatsoever. You're going to see surprises, and this year's World Cup is so much parity, I think, across the board.
Who's
There
your
will be
dark
some-
horse team? If you had to pick one
Yes,
team
it's
that
gonna-
you
I
think
mean-
could be that team this year, who is it?
Well, I think it's going to be Denmark,
Yeah.
Denmark?
right? I mean, everyone's going to say that, I think, just
Yeah.
because what they did at Euro. So at what point does a consistent performer no longer become a dark horse, but become a pretender? It's a fine line between a dark horse and a pretender.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? Who do you have beyond Denmark?
Canada? Is Canada a good?
Well,
good dark
Frank
horse
Leboeuf,
there?
Chelsea legend, French legend, won championships, was on ESPN.
Yeah.
And actually, Albert Vitanian put it out on his Twitter feed. So follow Albert Vitanian, and you'll see this. He has Canada get into the semi-finals.
No, I'm shaking my head because they also look the rest of his bracket.
Costa
and
Rica
Costa
coming
Rica
out, I
also
know.
made it through somehow, and
Yeah.
I don't think there's any chance that that's happening. So,
But everyone's going to be doing the same predictions pretty much, right?
yeah, I like it.
So now and again, just go out maybe you get one right and you look like a genius.
Okay, but we also have been talking about the groups and who's going through, and we haven't agreed on it so far. So I actually don't think that everyone's going to be having the same, big guys going through. Like, I think it's everyone's.
We need to fill out a bracket. I think
do.
we all need
And
to
we
fill
need
out
to
a
share it and
bracket,
show it.
and let's put our money where our mouths are.
We'll film it.
Yeah. Oh.
All right.
Content.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Content.
Content's king.
Actually, we didn't even think about do you have Spain and Germany going out of Group E?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw Japan. I don't know who's gonna be the team. I'm gonna say it just because Sarah's here. Germany
You're
and
the
Japan are
worst.
going through, and Spain.
Nice. I like that. This first chat of ours on YouTube, right? First time we're doing this, was supposed to be about a bunch of club stuff from the weekend, but guess what? We're finding a way to get to the World Cup because we are pumped and excited for it. So This has been the debut of Room 442 on YouTube. The big show goes later today. Follow all our social channels to find out where you can find that. All right. Cheers very much for watching. See you tomorrow.